Hi everyone! Today's video I want to show you how I made my December daily mini album from scratch and how I decorated the cover. I will have all of the supplies listed down below. The first thing you see me doing here is cutting down the chipboard. This album in particular is an 8x8 inch mini album. I love this size because it fits everything I need for my December daily and gives plenty of room for both photos and journaling pieces. I'm using my regular paper trimmer to cut down the chipboard. This chipboard is really nice because it is thick and makes the album feel durable. Because this chipboard is a bit thick, I trim it on both the front and back side. If I were to only trim one side, it wouldn't cut all the way through, but I have no issues when I do both the front and the back. And I get a pretty smooth cut as well, although I will need to change out the blade pretty soon. I am also cutting down the spine of the album, which I cut down 3 1/4 inches by 8 inches. Although if you use this tutorial for your own mini album, you may want to make it bigger or smaller depending on how many pages you have. I will go over the spine in more detail later on in the video. This beautiful, gorgeous green paper is what I am using for the cover. This is from the Winter Cottage collection, which I did an entire video on last year for December Daily that I will also link below. I love the dark green color and all of the floral bits and pieces on it. For this paper, I am cutting it down 10 by 10 inches. I am making it purposefully bigger than the chipboard piece, that way it can wrap around comfortably and cover all of the chipboard. Also, I'm cutting down the paper I want to cover the spine with as 6 by 10 inches. Some of the paper will also cover the front and back cover as well, so I made sure it went well with the green paper. Now it is finally time to cover the chipboard pieces. This is one of my favorite parts of creating mini albums. Typically, I use either double-sided tape or Mod Podge, but this time I am using tape. Whatever adhesive you decide to go with, just make sure you cover all of the edges. I also put some in the middle to give it extra hold. I love this adhesive because it is really strong and also easy to peel the backing off, unlike some of the others I've used. I will link all of the supplies I use in the video description. When adhering the paper to the chipboard, it is important to make sure that the paper is as straight as possible, just to make sure the pattern is not crooked or off-center. Once the paper is down securely, the next step is to cut off the corners. This makes it very easy to fold over the extra paper hanging off. The trick to doing this is to leave just about 1 millimeter of space between your cut and the corner of the chipboard. And of course, the next step once the corners are cut off is to fold them over. I am putting tape down again on the edges of the paper on all 4 sides. And this is optional, but I am also going to take some paper glue and put that down as well, just to give it a bit of extra hold. The easiest way I have found to fold over the excess paper is to first fold it using a table. That way there is a crease, and then I am using my hands to fold it directly to the chipboard. One thing I will point out after the first fold is that the corners will need to be covered. This is where the millimeter of space comes in handy that was left when I cut off the corners. I am simply taking that little bit of extra paper and curving it around the edge. It is very easy, and now I'm going to repeat this on all 4 edges. I hate that I'm covering the red and white plaid pattern on the back of the paper because I love that pattern so much. I wish I had an extra of this paper so I could use the other side, but I just really loved the green side, so I couldn't really resist. And here is how the chipboard should look at the end. The front side and all 4 edges are covered completely. Next is to do the spine part of the album. This process is a bit different than the covers. I am taking the piece of paper we have for the spine and laying that down flat, making sure it is straight. Next, I am taking both the front and back covers, and those will go on either side of the spine. I am quickly removing the adhesive backing, and the chipboard needs to go directly in the middle of the paper, leaving a few inches of space on all sides. I love this mat because it makes it so easy to measure and find the middle. Once the chipboard is adhered, it is time to adhere the covers. The front covers and the spine should never be touching directly, or else the album won't be able to open and close freely. Instead, there needs to be a bit of space between the two. The best trick to use that works every time is to take two of the chipboard pieces and use the width of those to determine the spacing. You can see how easy it is to place the pieces up against the spine to get the perfect width. I'm doing that with both the front and back cover, adhering them with the same double-sided tape. And once that is complete, you should be able to open and close the album perfectly. Now, the leftover paper needs to be folded over the edges. Using the same technique as before, I am folding over the paper and adhering it to the chipboard. At this point, all of the edges should be covered by now. Finally, it's time to decorate the insides and make it pretty. I pre-cut this Christmassy red paper. I cut it down a little less than 8 inches by 10 because I like when a bit of the cover pattern shows through on the back. And I am just adhering it again with the double-sided tape, using the scraper tool to make sure it is as smooth as possible. It is also a good idea to go over the fold or the creases that hold the album together because that's where a bunch of air bubbles can accumulate. Before I am fully finished with the inside and can start decorating the album, the last step is to do the inside spine that will hold together all of the pages. This is arguably the hardest part of completing a mini album, but I will show you a super easy way to do it. If you try this yourself, you are going to need a paper scoreboard like the one I have here with all of the measurements. At the note card I have at the top, it has all of the measurements you are going to score at. The measurements here make 6 arches that will hold 12 pages. If you need to fit more pages in your December daily, just continue on scoring using the sequence of measurements. The measurements go in a sequence of 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch, and then follows the same sequence starting again at 3/8 of an inch. You can adjust these measurements yourself depending on how much space you want between each of your pages. I find that 3/8 of an inch is enough room for my albums. In this particular album, I wanted 14 pages in total, so I needed to make 7 arches, so I simply continued on with the scoring following the sequence of measurements. I know this sounds really confusing, but I promise the more times you do it, the more sense it will make. If you do decide you want more pages, you may need to either make your spine wider or adjust the measurements a bit. Once the scoring is complete, I am cutting the length of the paper down to 8 inches to match the length of the album. Now it is time to fold it together almost like an accordion. I'm folding at the score line that is between each of the 2 1/2-inch marks, and this will make the place you adhere your pages to. While I was in the middle of crafting, my cat wanted to join and scrapbook with me. She loves knocking stuff off my desk, but she's so cute and I didn't want to move her. So just to summarize, all of the 1/2-inch pieces will be adhered to one another, and in between each set of those are the 3/8-inch spaces. I am adhering the paper together with the same double-sided adhesive and also using paper glue as well, just for some extra hold. After everything is taped together, if there is any leftover paper, it is time to cut it off. Finally, it is time to adhere it to the inside of the album. I put some tape down as well as using glue to ensure it has a strong hold and will not come up once the pages are inserted. Taking the scraper tool, I am going in between all of the arches to smooth everything down. And that is everything to construct a mini album. The hard part is finally over and now the fun can begin on decorating the front cover. I really loved the cover pattern, so I wasn't sure I wanted to decorate it at first, but I had these leftover chipboard frames and thought it would be really cute to use one. I adore this little reindeer frame that matches the same red and white plaid pattern that was on the back side, which was covered up. I like that it has a lot of the same colors to coordinate. Inside the frame, I am placing this 4x3-inch journaling card that reads Peace, Love, and Joy. To add some extra embellishments, I have these chipboard stickers that include these mini snow cabins. I'm just placing those at the edge of the frame, as well as some tiny gold hearts and enamel dots. And that is everything. I'm so happy this is finished. I will do a final walkthrough with the pages included. I love how this turned out and how cozy and cute this looks. All of the supplies will be listed in the description, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more videos. Thanks for watching!